Welcome in to the Lucas and Lucas podcast. Lucas Frankel alongside Mike Lucas. Mike, we've developed a new motto for this show: the damn ball. If we the damn ball, anything is possible, and you'll never lose again.
No, if you the damn ball, you are guaranteed to go undefeated. Since I've had that horrendous, I'll even say horrendous, Twitter typo, the Browns have not lost. They the damn ball 40 times on Sunday for very little and minimal success. But I appreciated the Browns sticking with their efforts to damn the damn ball or the damn ball. And yeah, it was my bad. I was walking, texting, tweeting at the same time. We were in the Muni lot, tailgating before the game, shooting some content with some fans. It was a great time. But yeah, do not walk up a hill, talk to your girlfriend, and try to tweet at the same time. It will not end well.
Well, the Browns, I mean, you got to give them credit. They the damn ball, they the damn defense, and they won. Was it 27-0 or something like that?
Yeah, they held Arizona to 58 total yards in the game, the lowest total a team has put up in quite some while.
But a huge, I mean, if you want to talk about a matchup of epic proportions this Sunday, Browns-Ravens, huge measuring stick game for the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson versus Lamar Jackson. Lamar's playing probably the best he ever has this year. The Browns want to be, the team that Cleveland wants them to be, division champion, winning playoff games. Go out there and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Like, yeah. You want to prove to me that you're a legitimate AFC contender, Deshaun Watson. Go out there and play like Deshaun Watson that we all remember from the Houston Texans. Don't be the Deshaun Watson.
What you're saying is not unfair at all. We talked about it today on the show. They brought Deshaun to Cleveland to win games like this, Frank. You give up 3 first-round picks. You give out the biggest contract in NFL history. So you can go into any football game and feel good about your quarterback, regardless of who's on the other sideline. And the Browns did that to get Deshaun. It has not panned out so far, but this defense is good enough to keep them in any game. And, yeah, beating the Cardinals, beating the Titans, that's fine. You got to win games in the AFC North, and this game on Sunday against Baltimore should be a fun one. It's the number 2 defenses in the league, depending on which metric you look at it, and 2 running games that have put up numbers. Their efficiencies are quite different, and it's going to come down to, can Deshaun, if need be, match score for score with Lamar Jackson? We're going to find out.
If they get blown out, they might as well just bench Deshaun Watson. Like, they may as well not play. I know that he's under contract, but, like, if you can't compete in this game with that defense, it's all on Deshaun. So put up or shut up time for Deshaun Watson. This is, without a doubt, the biggest game he has started as a member of the Browns. So yeah, put up or shut up time. Let's see what he's got and what he's really made of here. As for the Jets, just an absolute dud on Monday night, 27-6 to the Chargers. People are defending Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is atrocious. He has no leadership abilities. As soon as his first read's not there, he crumbles. He is so bad at, like, avoiding pass rushers. As soon as, like, someone gets their hand on him, he just, like, immediately goes down. It's like he's unable to, like, sidestep, do, like, a spin move. Like Mahomes, when there's pass rushers near him, like, he is so one of the things that makes Mahomes great is his ability to elude pass rushers. There's no reason why Zach Wilson should be that bad. It's crazy that, like, he just hasn't improved at all since the second he came in the league. At least from what I've seen. Like, he's had moments, or, like, there are flashes of that last drive against the Giants at the end of regulation. He looked unbelievable. It's like, where was this for the first 59 minutes of the game? Why can he only do this in a 30-second span and that's it? It's extremely frustrating. I've got some stats to throw at you. He has failed to throw a touchdown pass in 16 out of his 30 NFL starts. Over half the time he starts in a game, he has not thrown a touchdown pass. He has never thrown 3 touchdown passes in a game in his career. The Jets are converting 22.1% of third downs, which is the worst mark since they began tracking the stat in 1972. It is baffling how atrocious she's been. And the Jets defense, even though the final score was 27-6, shut down the Chargers. They couldn't do a thing offensively. They had like less than 200 yards of total offense.
Zach Wilson total yards, yeah.
And the biggest to me mark of a great quarterback is the ability to mask problems on your team. And obviously, like, Mahomes, like, obviously the Chiefs pass catchers aren't great here. That's being a little exposed this year, but, like, every issue with the Jets with Zach Wilson is, like, you could like see it, like, it's like right there in your face.
It gets magnified. Yeah. And a bad quarterback makes everything else look like a big glaring issue, even if it's only minute.
And there is not a single thing that he's able to mask. If there's a problem with the Jets and Zach Wilson's understanding, you will know about it immediately. Mm-hmm. The guy has no toughness. He has no chance of ever. It's crazy that the Jets are forward for it because he has been one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns and the Giants, the two teams I watch the most, have also had atrocious quarterback play for parts of this season. And the biggest difference in good quarterback play versus terrible quarterback play is the consistency, Frankel. And you kind of talked about that with Zach Wilson in the last drive against the Giants. He looked confident. And all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, where's this been? And P.J. Walker for the Browns, who is literally statistically the single worst quarterback we have seen in a long time. He was dead last in almost any analytical measure you looked at in terms of advanced statistics. He had 2 game-winning drives, technically game-winning drives in his three games he played for the Browns, and it was the inconsistency. He was horrendous for most of the games. Zach Wilson's been horrendous for the majority of his career in the NFL. What I can't fathom about Zach Wilson, Frank, is how unaware of pressure he seems at all times. It's like he's standing in the pocket. You know the meme with the dog and he's sitting at the table and there's flames all around him? He's like, oh, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. And then the last one's the close up and there's flames. That's what Zach Wilson, to me, reminds me of in the pocket where, and it's not a good thing, where he seems so calm under pressure that he has no idea that pressure is happening. He has no idea the pocket's collapsing. He has no idea that, for example, the defensive tackle on the right end ran a stunt and there's a gaping hole if he just steps up and runs. He's pretty athletic, but he has no awareness. And then by the time he realizes it, it is too late and he's getting bear hugged.
It was so frustrating. It's like it's almost like the Chargers defenders were moving in slow motion. And I mean, this is what it looked like. They looked like they were like, I'm coming again. And then Zach Wilson's just like staying there, not with like, and has no idea. And if he just would have like taken a couple steps like one way, like he can evade them, creates set space for himself, allows more time for his receivers to get open and make a play down the field. It's unbelievable.
Have you gotten a fight in your dreams? Like, have you ever been in a fight in one of your dreams where you're trying to throw a punch and you're moving slow motion? No,
I usually don't dream. I dream about other stuff, not that.
It's not like every night dream for me, but yeah, like I feel like Zach Wilson is me when I'm just getting my ass kicked, frankly. I'm trying to throw one punch and it's like, no, and I was like, pow, 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 pow. My fist still hasn't even gotten past my face. That's what Zach Wilson feels like. It just feels like it's not situational awareness because it happens from the first play to the last play. He just has zero pocket awareness. Like maybe the worst I've ever seen in an NFL quarterback. And the way he gets sacked, where you said it a second ago, and I think it's even funny that he always falls backwards too. He always loses 17 yards on a sack. It's never like a 4-yard sack. It's always a 14-yard sack. But a defender blows on him, and he's down. And then you see like a guy like, we're going back with Ben Roethlisberger, or Cam Newton, or Mahomes, and some of these guys who are so tough to actually bring to the ground now. Not even big, Roethlisberger and Newton were big, but they don't all have to be giant. Like Russell Wilson does a pretty good job staying on his feet. Zach Wilson just goes down like a sack of potatoes. And I wish I had any right to stand on and be like, that sucks, couldn't be me. But Tommy DeVito is just as bad, if not worse. So
the last point I want to make about Zach Wilson is after the game, during his post-game press conference, someone asked him, like, Zach, like, do you feel like you're improving at all? And he goes, oh yeah, I feel like I'm a different player. Like my confidence, like through the roof. I feel like we're right there. We're right there. We keep shooting ourselves in the football. Like we're right there. Like I got this. But like, no, you don't. You don't have this. You're a joke. You are a pathetic quarterback. You have no leadership. But like, I just can't believe that he has the. Listen, I guess I respect the confidence. In order to be an NFL quarterback, you have to be confident. But for him to like speak to the media and be like, yeah, I'm like a different guy compared to what I've been in the past. So you're the same exact person. You haven't changed a lick. Don't lie to my face like that. I was so mad just like listening to that. And it just really aggravated me because it's clearly like he sucks and he has not improved a bit. And to just lie to us and like to tell us that like it's, I don't know, Mike, I've never been to an NFL practice, but I'd like to believe that you can sort of I highly doubt there are instances where a guy in practice is looking like, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, and Patrick Mahomes combined into one. And then they go into a game and then like, it's like, whoa, this is not the guy we saw. I have to believe that during practice, like the Jets are seeing this with Zach Wilson. Like I can't envision a scenario where he is in practice looking like Patrick Mahomes. And then once the game starts, he like shrinks to, the worst quarterback of all time. I find that really hard to believe.
Yeah, it's definitely different situation, and who knows? Like, I can only talk basketball practices. I've only seen a couple football practices in my life, but we had a guy, Dan Bisacchio, who's now the video coordinator for the Heat. who was the single greatest Emerson basketball practice player of all time. This dude didn't miss in practice and was a 0 in the stat sheet anytime it was a real game. It made no sense. This guy was.
But I get that for basketball because like there's the pressure around it. I feel like football. I mean, not that I have any experience about this at all, but basketball I feel like is a much more mental game than football is. Football is much more thinking on your feet, less thinking, and just reacting to what's going on in front of you.
Maybe for an offensive lineman, but not for a quarterback. I mean, reading a pick and roll is a lot easier than reading a cover 2 defense when they're inverting the defense.
All right. Anyway, continue with Dan Bisaccio being a great practice player.
Yeah, I mean, just like, yeah, I think it can happen. I'm not at Jets practice. I don't follow Jets like you do. I have no idea. But, yeah, I don't know. Who's the Jets backup right now? Who's technically?
So they have Trevor Siemian and Tim Boyle. So, like, there's a theory going around that ownership or someone or the general manager has created a situation where they told Robert Saleh, under no circumstance can you bench Zach Wilson. And that's like the best logic that we could think that the Jets Twitter can think of as to why the Jets aren't making a change.
That's what happened in Cleveland. I mean, before I got here with Baker Mayfield, the Browns, and this is if you believe reports, but Jimmy Haslam told the coaching staff and Stefanski, you have to play Baker even though he's hurt because we need to make a decision on whether or not he's worth giving a big contract extension to.
I mean, it's pretty evident that it's not worth getting.
Definitely plausible is all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just crazy that like in his whole career,
he sucks.
Exactly. He hasn't had one game. Like there's been the Mike White game. There was, Mark Sanchez even had moments. There was Geno Smith had a perfect passer rating one game. Like there hasn't been like one complete game that Zach Wilson has played in his career. Not what like Mike White comes in first NFL start, 400 yards, like unbelievable. Like Zach Wilson has not even come close to having anything closer to anything like that. Anyway,
here's something that's going to transition us from this to the Giants, and it continues again this year with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. That just goes to show you drafting quarterbacks in the NFL is such a freaking crapshoot. There's no guarantee that any of these guys who are high picks are going to pan out. And you go back to Zach Wilson, where Trevor Lawrence has been good, and in that same draft class, you have 5 guys. It's a generational quarterback class. 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 15. One of those 5 is good. One. Trey Lance, we have no clue. Mac Jones, we know sucks. Zach Wilson sucks.
Who knows if Trey Lance will ever even get another opportunity again?
Right, whatever. But like at this point, you have Trevor Lawrence. You have nothing from Mac Jones, nothing from nothing from Trey Lance, and then Justin Fields. Jury's still out on him, but it's not like he's lit the world on fire. Then this year you have C.J. Stroud, who was the 2nd pick. You have Bryce Young, the 1st pick. Just weird. It's a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get. And Daniel Jones was the 6th pick. He's been okay, not living up to the 6th pick. And Tommy DeVito might be the worst quarterback I've literally ever seen play football. And I want to gouge my eyes out watching the Giants offense. It is so painful to watch, Frank. I was talking about this last week and how I was so mad at Brian Daboll for not even attempting to throw the pass. Maybe he was right. Because Tommy DeVito can't throw the freaking football, and he just need to start this week. Actually, I take that back. He was objectively wrong against the Jets for not throwing. But Tommy DeVito's not an NFL quarterback. It sucks they're on their 3rd guy. They just signed Matt Barkley, who I hadn't heard his name in the NFL circles in half a decade, and all of a sudden he's the backup quarterback for the Giants without having any familiarity with the playbook, which means Tommy DeVito is going to get hurt in the 1st quarter, and Matt Barkley's going to have to play 3 quarters. He's going to run the ball 70 times again. It's the season from hell for the Giants. I'm just ready for it to be over, and I probably will not watch another snap the Giants take this season.
I mean, but this is the stage of the season where you're like, just lose the rest of your games and tank. Like I've been there plenty of times.
I do not want them to have any success, and I'd rather just not watch.
I don't want to spend too much time on the Giants. DeVito's stats were pretty good last game, aside from those two early interceptions. Like granted, they were down big the whole game, 15-20. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that percent in terms of completion percentage.
It was all garbage time.
175 yards.
The stats.
I know.
All garbage time.
So yeah, season's over for the Giants, but I guess the only question I have for the Giants is Daniel Jones ACL. Like, I think it's pretty clear he's never going to start for the Giants, because they're going to draft a quarterback, and that's going to be he's tied to them next year. He'll be on the team next year, and he'll be on the roster next year, but they're going to draft a guy who's going to start.
I would say the over under of him starting another game. Like I would 100% take over half a game if that's the line. Like I think he'll start next year, and even if they draft a rookie, which I assume
only because the guy they drafted gets hurt. He's not starting week 1 next year.
I think you're paying a guy $40 million. I think you'll probably give him 3 or 4 games because the team's not going to be good. The Giants are just devoid of talent. They don't even bring in a Caleb Williams or Drake May. There's not like they're going to turn this around in one season. They are
Honestly,
so talent averse in important positions. Lose Saquon Barkley. You already have no receivers. Darren Waller, who the hell knows? The offensive line outside of Andrew Thomas is a complete joke. Defensively, they just traded Leonard Williams. Like, they have to revamp so many parts of this offense. I think next year what we'll see is a situation where Daniel Jones starts the first couple of games of the season if he's healthy. They have a week 6 bye because the NFL always gives teams with that draft rookie quarterbacks and have overpaid veterans on it, early buys, so they can make the change at the bye week. So I would expect the Giants rookie quarterback to start by week 6, but I fully expect Daniel Jones to be their week 1 starter. There you go.
Real quick, do you have any issue with Aaron Rodgers always throwing in these primetime games in the field before the game?
I have no issue with it, but it's definitely intentional. Like, he's absolutely doing it because he knows the cameras are there and it's going to become a story.
It makes me so angry.
Quick, I heard Dan Le Batard, someone on the Dan Le Batard show, say he doesn't think Aaron Rodgers actually tore his Achilles. That he hurt his ankle.
I actually thought about that.
That he hurt his ankle, and to prove that he's this modern science, I can defy all odds guru, he lied about the torn Achilles.
No, but like, we saw the video, Mike. Like, you saw, like, I've seen it before with Durant and Rodgers. It was the same exact motion in the calf that saying. If
makes more sense than him being walking and throwing 50-yard passes 2 months out of a torn Achilles.
It's just annoying because the Jets have been so atrocious at quarterback this year. And, like, this being teased like that.
I know. He's teasing. Like, he's like a stripper. He's teasing you.
It's like, I know why he's doing it. He wants the attention. He wants to be asked about it. Like, and then after the game, be like, we'll be back in a few weeks. And then he backtracks it on the McAfee show. Just like, I just wish it's just more about, I just wish he would just keep his mouth shut and just, like, stay out of the limelight.
He's a stripper.
Stay out of the limelight till you're healthy and back on the field and practicing. I know it's very unrealistic to do that, but the teasing is very, very annoying. And I've kind of had it. Caleb Williams seen crying like a baby with everyone able to watch it after the USC lost to Washington last week. I've been seeing a lot about this. Usually I was trying to think of, like, football players that have, like, cried after, like, games. Like Tebow, I've seen cry a lot, but, like, beyond that, other than, like, players losing, like, the national championship game, like, players crying during the regular season, like, can you think off the top of your head college football players who have cried after losing a regular season game? And does that change your opinion at all about Caleb Williams?
To be honest with you, I thought a lot about this, Frank. I have no idea how to feel about Caleb Williams and this situation, in a good way or a bad. I can't. Every time I think I'm getting to an opinion or a conclusion, I see the side and I'm like, yeah, I get that too. Like, I want my favorite players, my leaders, to be humans. Like, we always want these guys to be absolute robots. And yes, Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, those guys are one of a kind. I just don't think it's fair to expect someone to be like that. When you find it, it's amazing. But I don't think it's fair to expect players to be like that. And Caleb Williams is as talented as any college quarterback I've seen in a long time. I don't know if he played a good game against Washington. Their defense gave up 52 points. Caleb Williams was not the reason they lost that game. I don't love the visual, but I also have a hard time getting mad at a 20-year-old kid who's under immense pressure and, like, is tight with his mom and his dad. Like, he comes from a super tight family, and I think it's a weird look, but, like, I'm not going to crucify a kid or change my opinion of a kid because you know what? In today's day and age, like, I didn't remember he painted his nails against Utah last year.
Well, I think he does that every game. But continue.
I think he did it. I don't know if he does it every game. He did it last year. It said FUCK Utah, and then they lost and they got posted. Like, I don't like that, but I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this, Frank. I'll be honest. I don't know if there's been a situation where I am having a harder time come to a take than this, because it's an emotional game. You invest a lot into a football game. He played well enough to win. His team lost. He just probably lost a chance at a back-to-back Heisman. Like,
no, that was over and done with before that. But yeah.
That was officially the stake in the coffin. And, like, how do you, like, honestly, how do you feel? I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't mind him crying. I just wish that he would have done it, like, behind closed doors. That's it.
I agree. Fair.
Yeah. I'd rather not see it. And like, listen, like, he's emotional. I guess he's an emotional guy, but whatnot. But
it shows he cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just.
Oh, come on. But, like, I think that there's other ways to show you care than just, than crying. But that's beside the point. I mean, he is being paid millions of dollars by NIL to play for quarterback in college football. I look at like the history of like all-time athletes, guys that were the faces of franchise, faces of leagues, and Tom Brady cried in a press conference, but never cried during a game. So I don't know.
Tim Tebow, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tim Tebow cried after a game in front
And he
of
ended up sucking.
But he was one of the greatest college leaders. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
It's very rare that you just see guys do that on the field.
Yeah. If someone feels a certain way about that, cool. I'm not going to tell you right or wrong. I just don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it. So,
how much do you care about this Michigan sign stealing scandal? How big of a deal do you think this is?
Zero, little,
really
minimal. Listen, teams steal signs all the time. Michigan got caught. They were going to the extreme for it, but like that's what scouting is. We stole. We went, and when I was in high school, we used to go to the other teams, listen to their play calls, write down when they call Michigan, they're running the flex. And when they call UCLA, they're running a Princeton back cut. Like we did that. So it's not right. And doing it in person is definitely going overboard, but I think this is just being blown to a proportion, like blown out of proportion. And I hate the fact that the Michigan players are going to get punished for it when it's not their fault at all.
Yeah, I just feel like everyone does steal signs, not necessarily to the extent that Michigan did, but after Spygate, I'm just so over it. Like,
yeah,
the Patriots were great before Spygate, they were great after Spygate, and it didn't end up making a difference in my opinion. Maybe in the 0-1 Super Bowl, who knows? Marshall Faulk is adamant that they stole their signs and the Rams would have won that game, but like the Patriots won multiple Super Bowls after that, so I'm just so over all the sign stealing talk and the Astro stuff. I'm just over. I'm over it. Like, if the sports leagues really wanted to make a statement about this, if you steal signs, then guess what? You're banned. You lose your championships. You lose that. Like, make it. If you really want to get rid of it, then make it so that if you do it, you're ruined forever. And I'm just that's where I stand about it. Now you got to run.
I had a much bigger issue with the Astros and that sign stealing scandal. And with Michigan, we had a discussion last day, a point that I do at a run, but our director, Steve, who's not a sports guy, was like, well, doesn't every team scout and steal signs? Like, what's the only crime is he was doing it in person? He's like, well, why can't anyone else just go to a game and watch and film? And I was like, yeah, like you and I could buy a ticket, Frank, to the Rutgers Iowa game this weekend and take a video of Grace Young on the sideline, and that's not illegal, but it's such a gray area and a weird rule that I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
I mean, I feel like you could even listen and hear what they call and then watch the playback and then and you still may not get it right. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not up in arms about it like other people are. But I do got to run, Frank. This was good. Tommy DeVito sucks. Zach Wilson is 10 times better than Tommy DeVito, and we're in quarterback hell in New York City right now. Terrible.
All right, Mike, you're gonna sign off here. I'm gonna make a couple of points to the millions of people that are still on about the New York Yankees.
Peace.
So Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner spoke to the media on Tuesday. And listen, Hal Steinbrenner is who he is. He is not George. And he clearly wants to win, but he doesn't have that same, win at all cost mentality. And I'm just so sick and tired of people who get so worked up over Hal Steinbrenner. Like, he is who he is, and he's not going to change. If he would have changed, we would have seen it already ever since George died. They haven't been to the World Series, and let's call it what it is: the curse of George Steinbrenner. And who knows if the rest of my lifetime the Yankees will ever win another World Series, because the curse of George is real, and it's a scary reality because the Yankees may never win another World Series for a really long time because of this. There's obviously no proof to it, and people are gonna be like, "What a ridiculous theory! There's no science to it." But it's as someone who's been watching the Yankees for a long time, it's what I believe. Brian Cashman spoke as well. Said, "I think we're pretty effing good." Well, I mean, the Yankees are paying one of the highest payrolls in baseball. They have a ton of talent. It's just they don't spend in the right places, and all the trades they make end up backfiring. Feels like the Yankees this offseason need to go out and make a huge splash. Juan Soto would be a great start, and Cody Bellinger. I feel like those two guys have to be Yankees. And then after that, who knows? I don't know. But it just sucks for the Yankees because the Orioles are going to be good for a really, really long time. And it's gonna be a rough few years, hopefully. but hopefully I'm wrong. It really sucks seeing Eovaldi take that picture with Chapman, Montgomery, and Andrew Heaney after the Rangers won the World Series. Basically, all the horrific moves that the Yankees made under Cashman all ended up winning World Series. The Montgomery trade for Bader ended up being a disaster. Andrew Heaney was terrible. The Yankees ended up winning a World Series and pitching great in the World Series for the Rangers. Eovaldi was a good Yankee, then got hurt and then wasn't re-signed. So not as bad of a swing and a miss. But then Chapman quit the team last year during the playoffs and just goes to the Rangers and wins the World. Like, there's one player who doesn't deserve a ring, it's Aroldis Chapman. My least favorite Yankee of all time. One of the most unforgivable acts, and I'm shocked that anyone even wanted to pick him up this offseason because he quit on a team during the playoffs. How do you like say to yourself, yeah, we want that guy on our team, and now he's throwing 104 again after like throwing 96 last year for the Yankees? Just no respect for Aroldis Chapman. Respect Jordan Montgomery though. Feel like I was not a fan of the Bader trade when it initially happened. Got sucked in when Bader was great during the ALCS and division series for the Yankees in that postseason last year. And then this past year, kind of got exposed for what he was, which is a below average hitter, but an excellent fielder. Also got hurt a couple times, which didn't help his cause. Reds ended up missing the playoffs once they got Bader. He only played like a couple games for them. Yankees got a lot of work to do over the offseason. Sick and tired of losing. This 14-year title drought is been going on for way, way, way too long, and we need massive changes and get it together. Zach Wilson's also a joke. So that will do it for this edition of Lucas Podcast. We'll be back next week. Maybe the Yankees will have Juan Soto by then.